Deep within the Aravalli hills of Rajasthan, the landscape gets quiet as the sun drops. The brush crowds the dirt roads, and the footprint fades. You won't find a welcoming visitor center here. Instead, you are met with an official government order from the Archaeological Survey of India. Entry is strictly forbidden between sunset and sunrise. The area immediately surrounding the 16th century ruins of Bhangarh Fort is a physical void. The closest settlement, Gola Ka Bas, is miles down the road. Local cowherds actively refuse to let their cattle graze anywhere near the perimeter. This isolation breeds modern panic. Take the first-hand account of a traveler named Pushpendra who visited the ruins with friends right as dusk began to fall. While descending a narrow stone staircase in the fading light, one of his friends felt a sudden, distinct movement brush past him. He began screaming incoherently, sprinting blindly through the ruins until he collapsed in a daze near the temple. The result is a landscape that feels inherently unwelcoming. Between the official bans and the local avoidance, the fort has become a place where the human presence is the clear anomaly. Entering the city requires walking through the remnants of the old defensive perimeter, the Delhi and Lahori gates. From there, you descend into the belly of the complex. Right away, there is a glaring architectural anomaly. Rising up from the total devastation are beautifully, almost perfect. Doctrine insists these specific structures, dedicated to Shiva and Hanuman, are literal safe zones. They believe the spirits that roam the grounds are physically incapable of crossing these divine thresholds. Step outside those sanctuaries and the protection vanishes. Moving into the commercial districts, like the Jowri Bazaar, reveals nothing but fragmented foundations and low stone rubble. The atmosphere turns particularly oppressive inside the Nachni Ki Haveli, the former mansion of the city's dancing girls. Faded wall paintings and ornate archways lead out to a desolate interior courtyard, where visitors consistently report a heavy, suffocating dread. The selective nature of the damage aligns with local folklore. Instead of the slow rot of a typical abandoned city, these ruins look like they were targeted, the homes smashed to the ground while the temples were left untouched. At the very edge of the complex, backed against the mountains, sits the epicenter of the hauntings, the 3-story Grand Palace. The locals attribute the destruction of this palace to a black magician named Singya, who developed a twisted obsession with the beautiful Princess Ratnavati. Knowing she would never accept him, Singya slipped a dark love potion into her perfume, but the princess caught on. She threw the tainted bottle out her window, where it miraculously morphed into a massive boulder that rolled down and crushed the magician. With his dying breath, he cursed the town to eternal desolation. A second, equally persistent legend ignores the magician entirely, pointing instead to an ascetic tantric who lived on the hill overlooking the fort's construction. This elevation profile shows the fatal mistake. The tantric issued a strict ultimatum to the founders: build your city, but never let its shadows touch my home. King Ajab Singh ignored the warning, adding columns to the palace that were just high enough to cast a dark shadow directly over the mystic's hut. That shadow triggered the curse, specifically ensuring that roofs throughout the city would forever collapse. Even today, locals claim that any attempt to build a roof in the vicinity will end in immediate destruction. Both legends reach the same conclusion. The city was systematically dismantled by a single curse, leaving the stones behind as a stark warning of what happens when the ruling class offends the supernatural. But if we look past the folklore, we have to ask what actually wiped out a thriving 16th century Rajput kingdom. The historical record points directly to relentless, bloody battles. Bhangarh was locked in continuous warfare with the neighboring state of Ajabgarh, a conflict that severely drained the city's blood and financial resources. The final blow arrived in the 18th century. A catastrophic famine swept through the region, starving the remaining war-torn population and forcing everyone who survived to abandon the city forever. The violence of human history here was brief. Once the people fled, the sheer, unbothered scale of the natural geography simply swallowed it back up. This leaves us with an interesting question. Did the immense, localized trauma of mass starvation and warfare leave a psychological scar so deep that it birthed generations of ghost stories? Ultimately, the distinction between literal spirits and psychological trauma doesn't matter. The terror is real enough to keep the ruins completely empty, frozen in time. You can walk the paths of the Jowri Bazaar in the bright afternoon sun and admire the surviving stone temples. But you have to ask yourself, would you have the courage to defy the curfew and test the boundary between tragic history and active horror when the sun finally goes down?